Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. So today we're going to have a look at the cellroom.com. What we're going to do is pick out a few kind of keywords and just have a very quick search to see what we can find. So for the purpose of this video we will simply pick violin, guitar, mandolin, percussion and bassoon. In the future we'll have a look at some other instruments, but this will do just to give an overview of the cell room and how it works. This is not a specific auction, this is a platform which holds many different auctions from many different auction houses across Europe and also across the world really. So there's some international houses. So without further ado, we'll go into the cell room and explain how it works. So, as I said before, the cellroom.com is an online platform for auction houses to upload their auctions to kind of spread the auction a bit further than it would be normally. So there's some bigger auction houses here. There's also some smaller ones, some ones which might not normally have an online presence. There's many different setups here, and each kind of auction is a little bit different, and each auction house kind of works a little bit differently. So the first thing that you'd have to do if you wanted to kind of buy anything from the cell room is you'd have to kind of register. So you put in your normal details, you kind of sign up, and then you go through all of that. And then I think you might have to put in your bank details there as well. I can't quite remember, it's been a while, but you kind of get verified. And then once you're verified on the site, then you need to verify yourself for each individual auction. So depending on what the auction is that you want to, or the item you want to bid on from an auction house, you would kind of go on to that and sign up for that auction. And once again, there might be like a kind of a bank thing to just check that you're kind of a legitimate buyer, and that happens with other auction houses as well. So even if it's like a musical instrument auctioneer and they have like a new auction every month, they will still ask you to register for that auction, and they'll probably take like a very small fee from your bank account, like 1 or 2 pence or something like that. But that's very standard for these kind of auction rooms. The cell room have a buyer's guide which I really recommend kind of reading before you kind of look at anything. So this explains kind of how you sign up for things, you know, how you, there you go, how you register, how the bidding actually works, and how you get pay and get things delivered. Talking about kind of the costs. So one really important thing to understand is that in all these auctions there's always a buyer's premium. So you pay a percentage of the final hammer price, the final selling price of the item on top. So this could be 20%. I mean, that's does happen, but that's getting quite low now. A lot of the auction houses have jacked it up. Usually there's a kind of percentage for kind of credit card payments as well, and there's other online fees and transactions. So the buyer's premium could be like 20%, and it's different really for every auction on this site, so you need to read it and be careful. The other thing to bear in mind is that the different auction houses you deal with, like some will allow collection, well most will allow collection, but it could be difficult, especially in these kind of pandemic times. So you might have to get stuff delivered. The delivery can be expensive. I've had a few things delivered before, and in the UK, maybe from one end of the country to the other, it might cost like £40 or so to get, say, a violin delivered, which is not terrible, but if the instrument is not very expensive in the first place, then you know it's not great. So this is things you just have to bear in mind, is that you have to think about the additional costs when you're bidding. One other thing that we'll go into a bit later is that sometimes on the sale room and some of these other kind of online sales platforms, you see current bids for some auctions. Some don't have that, but the current bid doesn't necessarily mean what state it's at, because sometimes the auctioneer, the actual auction house, is just waiting for all of the kind of like bids that people have kind of like requested from these online kind of places to come in, and they won't update them until the day of the auction. So it could be that you know, when the auction starts, there might be 50 phone bidders that they already have to add up, and then there's like 50 from the sale room, and then there's 50 from invaluable.com or whatever the other place is. So it might say on the sale room like 5 bids and it's up to £500, but in reality the bidding could already be at like 2,000 or something. You don't know, because a lot of these aren't updated like on a live basis, and the sell room usually states this, so it can be a bit misleading, and you might see the same item listed on the sell room or another online platform and at different price levels. This is just because none of the information really gets fed into the auctioneer until the auction's actually live. You know, the only places that you might see a better kind of live reflection is on the actual website of some of the auction houses, especially like musical instrument ones, but even then it's not guaranteed, you know, that you still get people calling in that don't like online sales and stuff, so you really don't know. But these are important things just to look out for. Anyway, explore the site, have a look around. There's plenty of things to read up on. There's lots of guides, so it is very interesting. So take your time, have a look around. In reverse, let's just have a look for some musical instruments as we said we would, and let's see what we can find, and then we can kind of go into some of the more of the details of how the actual auction works. So let's type in bassoon. So, bassoon. Well, there we go. Not a lot in terms of bassoon. So here we have some kind of more ornament kind of trinket things. So unfortunately no actual bassoons this time. So we'll have to move on to something else. Let's try percussion. Lots of different things covered under percussion, probably including guns, percussion rifles. That's not really what we're looking for, but I mean, if you are interested in guns, then there's lots of them. So let's see. Bum bum ba-dum bum bum. More guns, lots of guns. Well, this is really not going very well, is it? So we came here to look at musical instruments, and so far we're not seeing a lot at all. So there's lots and lots of things here. Yeah, let's go here and sort this out. So here on the left you can change all of the settings, like how much kind of the money and things like that, and let's just get rid of these other things and go straight to musical instruments and memorabilia. So there's some memorabilia, and look, oh, one actual musical instrument set. So here we go. This is Adam Partridge. It's actually one of our auction houses that are in our list here. So well, let's have a quick look at this. So opening price of 60, so that'll be the minimum that you would have to bid to kind of start the bidding. If no one bids on it like that and the auction actually goes live, then they might reduce it. It depends what the auction house has agreed with the seller, like what the minimum is. That's another thing to bear in mind, that sometimes the sellers have a reserve, so there's a minimum price that they would accept. So sometimes you might bid on something but it might not meet the reserve, in which case you know, you won't get anything, unfortunately. So here we go. This auction shows current bids, so in theory when this auction is live, it'll probably give you an option to watch a video somewhere here, the live stream, and this should show you the live videos here. So what's kind of interesting about the sale room here, so let's have a look at things. So auction is estimate £100 to £150. Yeah, sounds reasonable. You can see a few details here, so you can go straight to the auctioneer's website, which we'll do in a little bit. And sometimes you can actually see more pictures if you go into the auctioneer's actual website. So sometimes you can search and find more information. Let's just kind of read about this. So full size drum kit in metallic blue by Performance Percussion Drums, comprising a bass drum, snare, chrome finish, ooh lovely, pair of tom-toms, floor tom, hi-hat and crash cymbal with adjustable stool. Condition report, no sticks are included in this lot. Well, that's not going to be good for a starter, is it? There are some signs of corrosion and pitting. I mean, let's be honest, anyone who knows anything about drum kits knows that this is not a great drum kit. But, you know, maybe good for a kid or someone collecting. So here's the auction details. So this is happening on the 6th of January. There's 489 lots. Venue just in Liverpool. Here you go. Shipping. Sometimes these auction houses will ship small things, but if something's really big, they're probably not going to ship it. Like something like a drum kit, I really don't think that they're going to ship. So here they kind of they might recommend people that they get to courier things. Mailboxes, they're all over the UK. They deal with lots and lots of different auction houses. I've used them before. They're okay. They're a bit more expensive, not necessarily the most reliable. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit harsh on them, but you know that's a courier, and there's a few kind of local ones here as well. Most of the auction houses kind of suggest mailboxes and a few different local ones. I think it's usually worth talking to the local ones. They're usually cheaper and a bit of a nicer service, but you know, not always. Oh, another thing that we forgot to mention. So here we go, 25.93%. There's the additional fees, so VAT and sales tax. So that's the commission. So there we go. That includes the buyer's premium. So already it's getting quite high. There's probably some others as well. So read the terms and conditions, and you can kind of see what they do. I'm not going to go into it now, but yeah, there we go. There's lots of different things to look at, and just kind of if you wanted to bid on this and you've got an account, then like I said, you'd have to register to bid online for this particular auction. So this particular catalogue, this is lot 328 in that catalogue. You can go to Adam Partridge, his website, look at the calendar. So that sale I think was on the 6th of January. So here we go. Catalogue, and I believe it was something like lot, was it 328? Let's have a look. Lot 328. Yeah, here we go. Here's the drum kit. Same information. No new information, no additional pictures. So, but sometimes they can. So it's really worth looking on the actual auction websites. I mean, that's a good thing about the sale room, is that they're very clear. They don't hide the auction website. Sometimes you can get a better deal. Like you could probably sign up to Adam Partridge and bid through them, because a lot of the auction houses do that. Now it's quite random. I've noticed that some auction houses seem to have a deal with the sale room, that if you bid through the sale room, it's actually cheaper than bidding through the auction houses online platforms. But then some auction houses, it's cheaper to bid on their platform, but you can also bid in the sale room. And then some auction houses will only let you bid online through the sale room, because mainly they used to do kind of like, you know, in-person sales, but because of kind of COVID, a lot more auction houses are kind of moving to the online kind of way. So it's a whole different thing. I've even seen one auction house where they wanted you to kind of get approval from them to bid on an auction, even though you could get approval straight away to bid through the sale room, which just seemed really odd. So some of the auction houses are a bit stuck in the dark ages. You know, they're very wary of technology and online sales, so they feel, I think they're a bit uncomfortable in these new kind of settings. But these are all kind of interesting things to bear in mind. So yeah, always have a look at the auction house website as well and see what other information you can find. Well, as percussion was not very successful, then let's move on to mandolin. Let's see, are there any mandolins? Oh, 19 items. Well, that's a lot better. That's a lot more interesting. So, let's have a look what we have here. 19 listings. Let's have a quick scan. Early 20th century mandolin. Yep, very good. Violin-shaped flatback mandolin by Edward Glasel. I probably completely pronounced that wrong. Interesting. That's not to do. There you go. Another Italian mandolin. Another mandolin. Yep, a European mandolin, another Italian mandolin, another mandolin from Napoli. That's got quite a lot. We'll have a look at that a bit closer. Some silver stuff. There's a kind of German type of mandolin type thing here. It's one of those zithers which no one wants to keep hold of, and you can't even give them away. Another kind of mandolin, that's a German auction house there. Yep, some other mandolins. So let's see, some of these are not too exciting in my opinion anyway. Let's have a look at these Like these are always interesting, these kind of odd shaped kind of violins. There's a few pictures here. See, look, wow, look at this, 27.6% buyer's premium there, so you really have to think about that. Oh, Stroud auctions, they're interesting. I didn't add them to my list. They do musical instruments quite a lot, but it's usually nothing that great, but we'll keep an eye on them anyway. So this auction does not show current bids, so you won't be able to see what the progress here. So it might, maybe 10 people might bid here, and it might say the current bid is £500 or something, but in reality it could be something completely different. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to pay anything like that here. I think probably £100 or something maximum for that. So, but let's have a quick just look at the pictures and then look at the description. So can open up the pictures here. So yep, there you go. There's some damage there to the top. I mean, it's an interesting wacky shape. Interesting back there. I think you can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, they're not the greatest pictures in these auction houses. I mean, it's okay if you like mandolins, you collect mandolins. It's not the finest example that I've seen, but if you like quirky mandolins, then why not? So violin shaped flatback mandolin by Edward Glaser, 1905, patent 224, Viennese College of Music. So some reference from some YouTube thing. I mean, yeah, there you go. It's as a mandolin for sure. I'd agree. Not very exciting. There's lots of these kind of quite ornate mandolins. This one's quite interesting. These pictures are kind of quite terrible. So here it kind of looks like you've got tortoise shell. So a lot of these mandolins did have genuine tortoise shell, and then some might have kind of like faux tortoise shell, but depending on the age, they just used to love using as much of this tortoise shell as possible, which is a shame. I mean, I have one actually myself, a mandolin that has even more tortoise shell than this. It has all the tortoise shell here. There's a veneer, tortoiseshell veneer on the faceplate. Even the fingerboard is completely like veneer of tortoiseshell. It's just like, it's a bit horrific really, but thankfully you can't do that anymore. I mean, this is actually quite a pleasant enough mandolin. Probably needs some work, but can't really see enough pictures here. It doesn't talk about things. It looks like there might be something funny going on with the joint there. So this is the other thing. This is one of the things about auctions, is you really need to, if you can, and obviously it's difficult if you live far away from the auction, or if you can't because of like COVID and stuff like that, can't travel, but you really need to see these instruments in person, because this might look okay, but mandolins especially always have necks that pull up because people put the wrong strings on, like more modern strings at the wrong tension, so the neck's pulled up, or it's been stored in the attic and it's pulled up, or all manner of things. It was made quickly with unseasoned woods and it pulled up. Like these mandolins, because of the high tension, are terrible for neck pull. So the neck here might be completely pulled up, and then that's really costly repair. So if you're looking for an instrument that's playable, or you just want to collect something for the wall, it's worth investigating this a bit more and asking maybe the auction house if you can get a few more details. For the proper musical instrument auctions, you can usually get a condition report which explains kind of how what the problems are with the instrument, so it's definitely worth kind of investigating that. But when you can, it's always best to look at these things in person and play them if you can, if you're allowed, because it's very difficult to tell from these very poor pictures. Let's not keep this kind of one going too long. Let's look at this one, because there's another really fancy kind of one here. So who is this? Roger Jones and Co. Don't know who they are. Here we go. It's another kind of fancy one. I mean, there are lots of mandolins like this, this fancy decoration. Like, these are just kind of mainly cheaper workshop ones. There's some, that's an interesting kind of inlay there, but when you see the really kind of rare kind of special kind of antique mandolins, like the early mandolins. They are absolutely outrageous in terms of decoration. So hopefully we'll see some in some of the other auctions. Brompton sometimes have some nice ones. Oh, actually, Gardner Hallgate usually have some really lovely mandolins. But you know, these are just kind of normal ones. But you know, they're nice to collect and things like that. It's yeah, they're very nice, very nice. So as you can see, ooh, £38 bid already. 3 bidders. So this auction shows current bids. So there we go. You can bid on that. 23.94%. That's not too bad. So location, it's in Colwyn Bay. So there you go. An old mandolin and a book. So that's it. Well, you know, I think that's a good first look at mandolins and some of the auctions. So yeah, that's a good start, I think. Now let's look at some guitars and see what we can find. Usually pretty quite a lot. Ooh, 123. Let's have a look here. Let's just get rid of some of these other things. So musical instruments, 85. Let's just go to that. So here we go. Musical instrument, a Rickenbacker Jet Glow guitar. So yeah, very good. Claydon Auctioneers, interesting. So that's, you know, Rickenbacker's very historic guitar make, so that's gonna go well. Just a generic kind of classical guitar. Another one here, Saxon Les Paul electric guitar, so that's just a not very low quality guitar. Another classical one there. Yeah, some Aria. Yep, some more Spanish guitars. A Laney amp, you know, make some good amplifiers. Stratocaster style guitar, you know, not so exciting so far. Ooh, a Fender Stratocaster. So here we go, we're at Stroud Auctions. Let's just quickly have a look at this and see what pictures there are. Oh, it's quite a lot of pictures. There you go. A bit blurry. That's a Fender Stratocaster. Well, it certainly looks like one shape-wise. Serial number. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really able to tell if something's a fake or not, but without looking a bit more closely. But there we go. There's a Strat. Estimate £300 to £500. You know, 27.6% on the buyer's premium. Let's see if there's anything else. I do love guitars, for sure. It's kind of one of my main interests, but so far nothing's really grabbing me. So it's a lap steel. Yeah, it's interesting. Stroud Auctions again. That's a lot of things. It's a replica Kramer RS double electric guitar. How curious. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, so all sorts of odd things that you get online. Let's have a Japanese classical guitar. Let's have a look. Some memorabilia here. Vintage SG. Old acoustic guitar. Yep, some amps. Nothing really looking too super interesting here so far. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Another one of these zithers. They're everywhere, these zithers. Like, no one wants them. They're absolutely... I think they're absolutely horrible, personally. I'm probably going to really upset people, but you literally cannot give them away. I don't even know how these go into auctions. Like, £20 to £40. You'd have to pay me, like, 100 to take up the space in my small room or one of those. Marlin Reverb 50C electric guitar amplifier. So nothing really exciting in the guitar front today. Let's not waste any more time looking at guitars. There's nothing interesting to see, unfortunately. So for our final search, let's have a look at some violins. What do we have? Violins. Ooh, 103. Down to instruments. I mean, maybe you could be careful there. Sometimes maybe someone has catalogue something as something else. So an old cased violin and bow, unique auctions. So in Lincoln in Lincolnshire. Let's have a look at this. Well, that's a great picture, very blurry. Yep, nothing interesting. Yes, nothing too exciting to see there, I don't think. Auction estimate £50, 30 to 50 seems about right. Yep, that doesn't look too exciting. A case German violin with an ebony fingerboard. That's better than non-ebony fingerboard. Ooh, let's look. Yeah, that's enough. Well, interesting case. Well, not really interesting, but a nice enough case. So here's one of these kind of German lion head instruments, like 19th century, I'm sure, late 19th century. Some interesting looks, like it's kind of got some kind of fake varnished tiger stripes or something like that. Yeah, not particularly exciting. So that's a bit crinkle. It's like crinkle cut. That someone's had something funny's gone on there. So yep, not for me, I'm afraid, but interesting enough. Let's not spend too much. Maidstone, it was a big kind of movement in the UK, getting people to play violins, so they're importing them from Germany and stuff, various qualities. Interesting, lots of different types. A lovely antique European single piece back violin, so they're saying European, so they just don't know where it's coming from. Somewhere in Europe. Europe's pretty big, but yep. So it looks kind of familiar, this one, but yep. Can see here that the cut of the scroll kind of goes to this kind of 6 o'clock position. I think it's just kind of a workshoppy kind of violin. It's probably, like I say, European. It's probably German or something like that. I mean, that could be wrong, but something of that nature. Some more generic stuff. Oh look, we got this mandolin appeared again. Yeah, more violins. Doesn't look too exciting. What's this? An English-made violin circa 1820. Interesting. Let's see. Okay. Interesting. Well, look, that's got some problems there, for sure. Interesting. Well, I don't know. 1820. I'm not sure. Not sure about that. Personally, would say that it's a bit later than that. I would have thought put it to more mid to late 19th. But I could be completely wrong on that. I'm not an expert. I'm just kind of having a look. So here we go. It's another. Yeah, it's another. Oh, there you go. It's good to see the scroll there, so it's not kind of cut all the way. It's another kind of workshop kind of trade instrument with a Steiner brand, like nothing to do with any of the Steiner kind of, if you want to pronounce it correctly, instruments. So yeah, well, let's not go through all of these because it's a bit too many. Ooh, a cased violin for restoration. Let's see. Wow, bloody hell, that is pretty mad. That's what's happened there. It's like gone. That's crazy. Look at that. That's been gone over by a truck or something. Yeah. Well, that's definitely restoration. Well, look at that. Yep, that looks potentially eaten by something, but who knows? Maybe not. Interesting. A violin and a viola for a restoration. Wow. Okay. Well, that definitely needs a bit of restoration, doesn't it? That's something. I don't know. It's got some charm. It's got some kind of charm. I like these kind of weird basket case auctions. So Stacey's auctioneers and valuers. So there you go. Auctioneers estimate 30 to 40. Seems good. Look at that. Wow, 29.94%. That is, so you're talking about 30% basically of whatever this goes for. You have to add on top. So I mean, it looks interesting. Maybe a good project. I like these kind of random things. The shape of that is a bit odd, although it's a bit misleading because you've got these kind of it's kind of come away at the sides. let's have a look. Let's look at this. A two-piece back violin bearing labelled to interior, John Young, Aberdeen. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, look, it's had some repairs there. This looks kind of interesting though. Yeah, okay. Nice. This is interesting. That's interesting. Wood choices. And it's had a kind of shim underneath there. Oh, looks like it's kind of almost got a kind of, you know, straight baroque neck almost. I mean, it looks like it's probably had something adjusted to it, but yeah, it needs. It's got some funny things going on here at the button. That's actually quite an interesting violin to me, anyway. Anyone that's an expert is like, "What is this? This is terrible." But I like this. Looks like there might be some worm potentially, or it could be something else. But I know sometimes these holes, that looks very even, so maybe someone's kind of done something to it. But sometimes you see holes and they look perfect. I mean, well, look, it's definitely had some, that looks like it's had some worm in that's been kind of covered up, so I think there's some woodworms attacked that at some stage. But it's interesting. I like that scroll is a bit haphazard, but yeah, I like that. That is interesting actually, that one. Live auction 11th of Jan, Selborne. Hannams, yeah, they sometimes have interesting stuff. Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know this maker, but this, you know, that could well be what it says. Oh, I've completely got carried away that I forgot the other pictures. Yeah, I like that. I actually think that's quite interesting. Yeah, that's a very interesting instrument. There's a bow. Doesn't look very exciting at all. Yeah, interesting. I think that's an interesting instrument. I have to look up that maker at some stage, but yeah, I like that. Let's have a look at another Hannam's thing. Let's see. Yeah, nothing too exciting. I'm just scrolling through a few things that look interesting, otherwise we'll be here forever, to be honest. And I don't think anyone wants that. So, let's have a look. Another two-piece violin. So, I mean, I'm just looking at things for myself that looks interesting, but, you know, other people have different ideas, and the experts will just think anything that I'm saying is complete rubbish, and this is all junk, I'm sure, to them. So, which is fair enough. I am a junk hunter. That's what I'm looking for. I am looking for the junk, the diamond in the rough, or the rough in the rough. So, well, the Hannams, there's a lot of instruments here. There's a lot of instruments coming up, so I'll have to check out this auction in a bit more detail. So, a lot of it looks just very kind of tradey, but yeah, very interesting. We'll have to look at this Hannam's auction. There's some bows. Let's not look at those. And then goes another Scottish violin. That looks like a slightly odd shape. What's it? Scottish violin, 36, 1862, Joseph Buchanan. See condition report here. Glue present to areas of the sides, especially around base and neck. Wear to front and back. Crack present to side. Black dots present to back. Wear to neck and head. See images. Okay, so it even gives the weight of the violin. So interesting. And that could be worth looking at a bit further in the future. So a few violins there. Taylors. Yeah. Ooh, there you go. Someone's painted a violin there. Mellors and Kirk. Yeah, they often have a few odd things. Well, looks. If you like that kind of thing, not for me, but yep, looks curious. Let's see. Oh, there's another. Let's have a look at this. Paper insert. J.W. Tipper, Derby, 1915. Well, I don't know anything about that maker, but could be. Looks interesting. Yeah, curious. Looks like it might have been revarnished or something, or maybe not. Maybe that's just the light, bad lighting. You'll find on these auction houses a lot of the photos are just absolutely terrible. So you just have to look at it and see. There's a few more interesting violins here. Oh my god, we got another page. Wow, this never ends. Yeah, Okay, well, never ends and then it does end. No, there you go. Let's have a look at this last one, and I think that will do for now. So, I'm not going to get into these too much at the moment, just because, this is, um, a combination of auctions. It's not one big main auction, so I'm not going to go into it in depth. But it does look like there's some interesting stuff happening at Hannam's, I think. So I think for me, maybe let's have a look at Hannam's, and maybe that's worth kind of doing another video on, potentially, if that's if there's some more stuff going on here. We'll have to investigate. So yeah, next auction. Let's see. Maybe the catalogues looks like it's probably on the sale room anyway. So yeah, probably not worthy of another another video. But yeah, so well, there we go. We've looked at a few musical instruments. A bit of a rough start at the beginning, nothing too exciting, and then we had some good interesting mandolins. Guitars not really too exciting, but some interesting violins. So this just gives you an idea of some of the things that are on the sale room, and what you can find. Yeah, you will find some stuff here from very small auctions that you won't find in other places, so sometimes it's good to look and kind of just see what's about, really. Prices at the moment just seem to be going a bit crazy, I guess, because people are stuck indoors and they don't know what to do with themselves or their spare money, or those that are kind of well off. Obviously a lot of people are struggling at the moment, but yeah, the market still seems a bit bizarre at the moment, a bit mad, people with cabin fever and things. But yeah, so that's kind of a good introduction anyway to the sale room. If you've got any questions, if you're confused by what I said, just let me know and I'll try and improve for next time. Any comments or anything, just let me know down the bottom, and yeah, we'll see how we go, and hopefully in early January we'll have the first full auction, so we shall see what happens. Just one additional thing to say is I have actually purchased something via the sale room before. I bought a violin from a small auction house that were doing all their online bidding through the sale room. It went well. I bidded live on the auction. Saw like the auction window came up here when I was kind of watching the item. Bid on it and won. Paid my things, my fees and everything, and then arranged with the auction house for someone to kind of collect it and ship it to me on my behalf. The shipping was actually more than the actual violin itself, but have to say, all in all, it went well on that one occasion. No problems, so maybe I'll bid on something in the future. Many thanks for tuning in to this second episode of the Musical Instrument Investigator. If you enjoyed it, then please like, subscribe and turn on notifications. If you have any comments about anything in this video, or if you have any ideas of what you'd like me to show in the next videos, let me know. This is still just kind of early days, and in 2021 all of the proper auctions will start to become live. Thank you very much. Bye.